What could the Iranian regime be plotting next? Let's go ahead and bring in Ahmadreza Aziz, visiting fellow at the German Institute for International and Security Affairs. He joins us live from Berlin. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
So after this weekend's big failure of Iran's air defenses, what are military leaders in that country doing right now? Specifically, if the preliminary assessment that we've all heard about is accurate, and there possibly still is some of that material that requires defending.
Actually, one of the striking phenomenon of the recent war was the very quick loss of the airspace by the Iranian Air Force to Israel, and that was the main reason why we saw, incidents like kind of bombardments of Iranian missile silos and so on, and that affected not only Iran's kind of defense capabilities, but also to some extent the extent and number of missiles that they could fire. And on the other hand, of course, the only thing that helped the Iranian government to save the enriched material was the so-called passive defense that they were working on, like building these facilities deep underground. So it's not clear at the moment what the exact strategy is, especially because although we do have a ceasefire, there is no clear term still. There is no clarity on the exact mechanisms for enforcement, and that means that the Israeli operations, or either overt or covert, may continue. So at the moment, they are trying to basically fill the gaps that they see from within, because there was a lot of intelligence infiltration at the same time as well. But there is no quick fix to the air defense, as we saw as the main vulnerability.
So hypothetically, if Iran does look to bolster those defenses and maybe even bolster that air force that they may or may not have here, do they lean on countries like Russia or China to do so?
Actually, one of the very interesting debates that I have seen over the past few days has been on which partner, if any, we can count on to rebuild the air force, because it is actually very important to note that the whole Iranian military strategy was based on the concept of so-called forward defense. So it was based on one hand on the proxies to extend the geography of the battle far from the Iranian borders, and at the same time working on abilities like missiles to back up this. But it obviously failed after the fall of the proxies, and now the the fact that without air defense is not working the way that it was intended. So now the discussion is that Russia couldn't actually provide what we hoped for technical reasons, or also for political reasons. S-300 air defense systems didn't work for us the way that they're supposed to, and also they didn't provide Su-35. So what Iranian military experts are discussing now is to look at China. It's not clear if they would have the financial capability to get this from China, or China would provide this. But especially the recent war in a couple of months ago conflict, let's say, between Pakistan and India, where the Pakistani fighter just provided by China had a kind of striking and impressive performance, has impacted the way that I think the Iranian military strategists are now looking at things on that front.
Ahmadreza, we also heard from a former advisor to the Pentagon yesterday, as we were trying to see what Iran could potentially be planning next. She said that in addition to rebuilding their deterrent systems, as you point out, it was also likely that they were attempting to close their ranks and recover from what was obviously a massive intelligence failure that left them extremely vulnerable to the United States and certainly to the Israelis. If you agree, what could that look like for an oppressive regime? I'm sure you heard that reporting just now from Iranian state media of that regime essentially cracking down on what they described as mercenaries for Israel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a short-time measure, which is not surprising for an authoritarian regime, of course, because the fear has always been that, the Islamic Republic might actually get entangled in two wars at the same time, one with a foreign enemy and another one with kind of a movement or even a popular uprising within the country. So that's not surprising, but that's not going to solve the deeper problem that the Islamic Republic has. We know that, of course, a lot of things like the wave of migration from Afghanistan after the fall of the Taliban, or kind of this kind of ideological focus on cracking down on issues like women's hijab and so on contributed a lot to this intelligence distraction. But at the same time, it is clear that things like the assassination. I mean, clear whereabouts of high-ranking IRGC commanders, military commanders, that couldn't have happened without infiltration within the system. So, in a kind of a very corrupt, I would say, and also ideologically oriented system, it is not clear if they if they do have the willingness, and also if the potential internal infightings will allow for kind of effective, a measure to counteract these security infiltration. So societal aspect is one thing, but the infiltration, intelligence infiltration within the elites is another thing that I think is going to be more difficult to counter.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you highlight the oppressive nature of this regime, because that could present even further challenges for the United States and its allies to get some cooperation from the ground, especially if this government is clamping down and, according to multiple reports, even carrying out executions. Hamadir Azizi, we really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.